Hey, welcome to Witching Hour Tarot. This is my second reading of the day. Really excited to show off my new deck, so that encourages me, as well as my lovely priestess gloves, fingerless gloves. I was saying earlier in one of my other readings that when I wanted to, I've been thinking about doing tarot online for years. And I wanted to make an alter ego, get a wig and totally look different than what I normally look like. And it's kind of even funny, I don't look, esoteric or spiritual at all. I have no tattoos, no dyed hair, nothing really abnormal looking about me. And so, but with that, I've also received a lot of judgment, people kind of just see me as a plain Jane, and I'm just well, I don't need to do that to feel special. I already know I'm special. I already know, I don't need to, tattoo it on my body or get piercings or, do whatever to make it clear to people how different I am. So I'm very comfortable, and I find that when people who live in judgment, they tend to be more on the karmic side anyway. But I definitely kind of resent, that people don't see me as spiritual because I look pretty normal, So when I first got into tarot, I wanted to really make it about my alter ego, and I did have a different page. I used to write kind of esoteric poetry, and I called it Priestess Poetess, and and it's definitely very trippy stuff, and it's whatever, Thank you, God, and the divine for using me as an oracle and a channel of the most high vibrational messaging. All right, let's see what's going on in the collective. So, I'm really excited about my fingerless gloves right now. I have one more pair coming. Actually, I think I have two more pairs coming. So that would make my collection of fingerless gloves and bring it up to 5. Alrighty, so here we have the 9 of Cups out on the table and the Ace of Swords. So the 9 of Cups is all about, being in a position of negotiation, realizing that what you've had to sacrifice to have your 9 of Cups here, and keeping your power in the situation. The Ace of Swords is all about truth. And logical, practical, the cold, steely truth to a situation, to, a thought process, to whatever it might be. So maybe someone's realizing that they have a lot of negotiating power in the situation, and that's really what's going on rather than, whatever people are trying to do. But again, I love these cards. I think they're so beautiful. I love the galactic depiction here and the dreaminess, very Midsummer Night's Dream, only your imagination can come up with that kind of stuff. Planetariums could be significant. It does, on a tangent of that, it reminds me very much of La La Land and the scene we're at there, the LA planetarium, and then Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone are doing that beautiful dancing scene where it's very I can't even mimic the music, but very old school kind of Hollywood, and definitely very much depiction of being in love, and there certain times where I've cried during that scene as well. I was a little distracted maybe by other things happening in my life, but I was very moved when I first saw that scene. So, someone could also be in their emotions too, very, moved by the situation and realizing, the truth of what their emotions actually are, and how they feel, and realizing that they have negotiating power as well, you know, it's not just a situation where it's unrequited love and, you know, the person doesn't love you back. It's, you know, you can get what you want of the situation as well. Wheel of Fortune. Yeah, it's really great to see the Wheel of Fortune. Isn't this just gorgeous here? This jeweled wheel here, you know, and the Wheel of Fortune is divine karma at play. You know, definitely good fortune here for you, for your family, for your loved ones. Really great to see that here as a, you know, as one of the themes. King of Wands. Yeah, so the King of Wands is a very honest king. Wands are all about communication. It's fire energy. So Leo, Aries, Sag. Reverse, they can be, you know, encompass, you know, the angry outburst, tyrannical kind of king. You know, kind of on a power trip to get back at everyone, or just, you know, assert their dominance or their power in the situation. But again, I say this all the time, but I really tend to read, I like to read upright. I feel like there's enough, you know, with 78 cards in the deck, there's enough kind of depictions of the energy, and there's enough negative cards to clarify, you know, if spirit really wants that depiction to be. So, you know, someone's kind of realizing like what their honest truth is, what, you know, maybe they've waited some time for a truth to reveal itself as well. Like everything does come out in the wash with the Wheel of Fortune here, and people reveal themselves, and, you know, it's kind of just like, you know, luckily it's not too late for this particular King of Wands. You know, it's not too late. You know, and not only that, but they have, it's not unrequited here. Page of Cups. Yeah, so, you know, the Page of Cups, I went into one of my readings, like I've delved into a lot of different career prospects, kind of figuring out what I wanted to do with my life, and I ended up being in something very traditional. But there was a point where I thought I wanted to be a teacher, and I was teaching young, gifted children as a substitute, granted, in like after school, you know, teacher kind of counselor thing. And they're all kind of under the age of 13, with the majority of them being the age of like 7 and like 7 to 10. And so at this school, I used to play with them like in recess and after school, like as we were waiting for them, their parents to come pick them up. And there was this little boy who like, they had these huge bouncing balls, you know, and like, I don't know, it's like silicone, whatever it could be. And like they used to just like kind of chuck the balls, like, you know, tag your it. And so it was my turn to chuck the ball. And this little boy, he turns around and he looks at me and he's like, please go easy on me. You know, and he was serious too. And like, I'm like, of course, like, you know, of course, honey, like I would never do anything to ever hurt you. You know, but definitely being kind of, you know, being innocent in your emotions, you know, not being subject to the world yet, and becoming cynical, like being naive and kind of encompassing, you know, baby Jesus. You know, people say that Jesus is perfect. You know, I would say that it's hard for me to say that any man is perfect. I would think that a woman more so, you know, symbolizes perfection than any man would. But you know, that's obviously contestable. So let's see what's clarifying the Nine of Cups. Yeah, so, you know, don't be so hard in the situation. Like, try to be playful about it. Try to, you know, be vulnerable about it. Try to be, you know, like, receptive. fluid like water. The Tower. Yeah, so I haven't seen the Tower come out in any of my readings since I started on YouTube. And, the Tower is, I think that this depiction, it's usually like, Adam and Eve kind of falling out of the tower. And, I think this is like when they're discovered by God and realizing that they're subject to their own sin and that there is a heaven and hell. And I personally don't believe in hell. My religious practices, we don't believe in hell. So again, that's contestable. So, they believe that you can atone for all of your sins while you're alive and on this earth. But with here, the Nine of Cups, it's also a card. It's not necessarily a negative thing. The Tower, the Tower can be interpreted as more of like, when things fall apart, like there's always a renewal to it. Like for example, when there are like hurricanes or other natural disasters like tsunamis, and they totally wipe out the vegetation and the coral reefs and the ecosystem, the surrounding ecosystem. But then it's also like even like wildfires, there's a cleansing aspect to it. When you wipe out, when everything's wiped out by a natural disaster, everything kind of starts anew. It's fresh. So when I see the Tower, I more see there's a fresh new something here. Granted, you might have to go through a little turmoil. So what's clarifying? The Ace of Swords. The King of Coins. Yeah, so this is Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. I don't know the backstory to this card, but I love the tortoise depiction. I feel like it's really clever. Virgos are very stable. They're the salt of the earth kind of people, the people who are, work with their hands and prefer that way and love to be outside, and the builders, the foundational folks, there's a lot of stability, in earth energy, obviously, and this type of card here, and how, so it's like there's truth here as well. So like someone's definitely very stable, realizing how stable they are, realizing everything that they have, and that they're not really going anywhere. There might be some personal issues that you're dealing with, breakup, fighting with your family, cutting family members off, perhaps, coming to a realization that something's not working and you're not going to continue to force it. And, especially when you have, these types of dreamy feelings, ambitions, you can't force the situation. The Devil. Yeah. So the Devil, there's obsession here. I was thinking, I'm like, when is the Devil going to come out in one of my tarot readings? So there's definitely obsession here. Mental health issues. Partying. Like this kind of gives me idea, like with the Wheel of Fortune and then the Devil, like everything that glitters isn't gold. Like, so people go out and they enjoy the nightlife and they think it's like, what makes someone fun or aspiring to be, super social, like about the party, about, the look of it, going to the nicest nightclubs and like thinking that it looks like this. the Wheel of Fortune, that this is like where you find, like your Prince Charming, and you find like, your golden ticket to the best life ever. But meanwhile, what's going on is this obsession, addiction issues, people who can't get out of their own way, like that kind of stuff. Yeah, so it's like people are just trying so hard to be cool and be the hot thing and be it, be the it girl, be the cool guy, be the player, the guy that all the women want to be with, and like meanwhile, it's just like, you attract people with addiction issues, you attract people who just want you for your money, you attract people who are, obsessive and have, other strange issues like stalking behavior, or I don't know, I don't even know what's like what people do here with like, but someone's kind of holding their ground too. Like not only just holding their ground, like going underground if they have to, like, turtles, I think, burrow in the winter, to get through the cold and stuff like that, so they don't freeze. They are reptilians and cold-blooded animals, so they have to keep their body heat, otherwise they'll freeze, literally. So someone's kind of in between this like awful situation, coming to a realization, like having, a natural disaster in their life, but then like, holding their ground in the entire situation, and like realizing that that they're gonna be okay too. Like especially with the Ace of Swords and the Nine of Cups here, like you're gonna be just fine. You just kind of buckle down and deal with it. Put your head down, say nothing. All right, what's clarifying the King of Wands here? The Three of Wands. Yeah, so threes are all about learning. The Three of Wands in the original Rider-Waite deck, it reminds me of Christopher Columbus and him wanting to discover and uncover and, getting the ships from the emperor and then, or whomever, the King of Italy, I forgot who it was, and then traveling across the world, like the steps that you need to do, the things that you need to do to uncover, like going on long voyages, like, here with the King of Wands, it's definitely someone, using their honest communicative powers to unravel a very toxic situation, but remaining in their strength the entire time as well. So what's clarifying the Page of Cups? King of Swords. Yeah, so the King of Swords is a very logical, Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, practical. They're the lawyers, the accountants, the doctors of the world. I love how it's depicted kind of as like, I don't know if this is like a hippogriff of some sort. So definitely you're able to kind of move between two talents, two worlds, can fly and then can, be like a land species, but then like have the skies are at your whim. And here with the Page of Cups, it's kind of like, everyone knows that you have this in you. Like everyone knows that you're the King of Swords, but try to encompass your literally opposite energy. Your Page of Cups. Like try to be vulnerable. Try to be, emotive. Try to be romantic. Try to use your honest communication skills and how you really feel to, find truth in how to express yourself. All right, let's see our last clarifier here. This is my tattoo tarot deck. You know, like, I'm sort of cynical, and like, this is not a popular opinion, but like, you know, tattoos and stuff, like, I don't have any tattoos because of my religion, but it's interesting that like people, like the premise of like, you know, well, it's my body, like I can do what I want with it. Like, yes, you can do what you want with it, but it doesn't necessarily mean, like, I feel like there's this overriding idea that like tattoos somehow make you more of a special person, more of a spiritual person, more of a, you know, body art makes you different in that kind of way. Like, you know, like, oh my God, you're just so different with your body art, with your lion tattoo and your cross and like, you know, like, and your butterfly and, you know, your rose on your foot. You're just so different. You know, it's like become the norm, you know, and I'm like, I'm really happy I don't have any. But you know, it's also like I said in one of my other readings, like, luckily, like, I'm secure enough with myself to like know that I'm different and freaky enough without having to tap my body up. Like, I don't need people to know how different I am, you know. I don't need to assert my way with myself with my appearance. I'm fine with people just thinking I'm a plain Jane and opening my mouth and then them realizing otherwise. And like, that's the thing about, like, you know, people who like, there's so much language around spirituality and like the whole like twin flame concept and like divine masculine and like I wouldn't necessarily attach so much to an idea of like you having a one true love or whatever. I think that a lot of people have the ability to evolve into your one true love. It's more of like a premise and like how the best, like, I think that love is like bringing out the best in someone and someone bringing out the best in you. And like, granted, you can get really angry at someone, like, you know, hate and love are the same side of one coin. But like, with all that being said, I think my general point was that, you know, this language around spirituality is like, everyone wants to be different. Everyone wants to be special. Everyone wants to be, you know, seen that way by other people too. And like, social media has also like enabled such a high degree of narcissism within everyone that, you know, like it's like, when people kind of depict themselves or say that they're special or believe that they're anointed or act like they're anointed or, you know, whatever, they usually aren't. Like, humility and humbleness is a very underrated like feature or characteristic of someone. Like, when someone can, and like, they're a badass, like, you know, they walk, they speak softly and walk with a big stick, like, that is way more dangerous than like the illusionary people who want, you know, who are looking for validation for other people by, you know, tatting their body and oh, look how different I am, you know, getting tattoos, oh, look how different I am. And like, literally, you're just the same as everyone else. Like, you have a job, I hope so, you make money in some way, you're gonna go on the ground like everyone else here. You know, like, you're not, you know, so that's like a red flag to me, like, when people believe that they have this kind of like spiritual anointment and believe that they're like what they think is like the absolute, you know, that's like when I know someone's just like totally like out of touch. So, and so with all that, you can like literally poo-poo my tarot readings and throw them out the window, like I don't care. Four of Wands, yeah. So there's you know, duality here, perfectionism here. Like, you know, I just did mention the word the twin flame, and like, you know, Four of Wands is like the twin flame card. It's like, you know, the perfect loved. I've never heard of the concept of twin flame until recently, and it's kind of so ridiculous too. Like, You know, it's like absolutely crazy that you put this kind of like pressure on someone else. And like I think a lot of people have the potential to like be your perfect love. It's like whether or not they want to or not. Whether or not that's also in the cards for them. Like fate is definitely at play here. So with the Nine of Cups and the Tower, it's like someone, you know, someone's kind of like realizing like, oh damn, like this is really how I feel. Like I have this love here, but I have to go through this whole freaking thing to get to it. I have to like, is the juice is the fruit worth the squeeze? Let's see how the reading plays out. But like someone's like, oh, the world. Yeah. So the world has the fixed signs. So I believe it's Taurus, Aquarius, Leo. So fixed signs are when something's in a full season. So Taurus is full season of spring. Leo is the full season of summer. Like it doesn't split it with any other season. Like, you know, Leo is fully in summer. Aquarius is the full season of winter. And then Scorpio, is the full. I think this is Scorpio. I'm sorry. I think this might be Aquarius. Maybe the Scorpio is the full season of fall. You know, so there are fixed things in the universe for sure. Granted that everything kind of has like a little bit of a different, you know, tick to it. Like, you know, the Earth circles the sun, like, you know, 365 days out of and that's what makes a year. But you know, that's also progressed over billions of years and, you know, evened out, balanced out over time. So here with the Ace of Swords and King of Coins, like there's definitely someone like finding truth in the situation and, you know, putting, you know, keeping their stability, keeping their wits about them, keeping their logic about them, not getting too wrapped up in this, you know, which is really good and really healthy. You know, who wants to deal with like the Devil and the Wheel of Fortune. I love this combination because it's so contrastual. You know, we all have to go through kind of our own version of living hell to get to our Wheel of Fortune. The Sun, yeah. So we saw the Sun twice in my previous reading. So the Sun is the most positive card in the deck. Everything good, you know, good luck, good fortune, good omens, good, you know, abundance, generational wealth, love, happy families, you know, healing. So like unfortunately, like everyone. I'm super fortunate and unfortunate because most of the stuff that I've been through happened to me at a very young age. You know, very young, too young. And I have this like there are things where I'm a little like I feel like I'm like 45 or 50 on like an intellectual level, you know, on a psychological level, on an experience level. But then because I've dealt, you know, with stuff like this, you know, my emotions sometimes can get the best of me as I'm growing up and, you know, finding my EQ balance. You know, granted, I've had other things, like I've had horrible accidents and stuff like that happen. But I'm making this relevant because, like, you know, to find the silver lining, to find the light at the end of the tunnel, like, unfortunately, like a lot of us do have to go through these types of situations to even become, you know, spiritually aware, to even become, you know, to find out what the truth really is. Like a lot of people live in like these toxic cycles going round and round and round and round their whole lives, you know, and then there's a point where you have to say, like, I don't want to go round and round anymore. I don't want to deal with this anymore. I don't want to, and then face the consequences of saying no. So there's definitely love here for someone. Everything that they could ever want is here for someone. Good fortune, happy families, wealth, abundance, good feelings, learning how to get there, being on the fool's journey. Nine of Wands. Yeah, so the Nine of Wands is a card of financial burden. So that's probably what's in the back of someone's mind here. It burdens them so much that, they make these bad life choices and that they're stuck in them, and the thing is though too, like you reach your hand out to someone and ask for help and say, go easy on me. If you trust that person, if you trust them, if you use your best good judgment, they will probably help you. Not in a sense where you're like even trying to take advantage of them, just like, I'm really kind of stuck here. I need help. And a lot of stoic masculine energy, it's really hard for them to ask for help. Maybe they're just used to, codependent situations and taking care of people and, being, thrown out the tower their whole, falling for 20 years. Like you're thrown out of the tower and you're just falling for 20 years and then, waiting for the impact. You have to say, it's like, I don't want to be on this merry-go-round anymore. And the thing is too, is like, a lot of people want to do things by themselves, and there's this really great quote. It's something along the lines of like, individual genius is easy. You can see progress with individual genius for sure, but collective genius is when you take things to a whole other level. Like you can't accomplish these really wonderful, great things without more than with just one person. Like you need to work with people. Like you need to have a team. Like you need to be able to learn that, you need to have a crew. Like, our collective genius is way more powerful than just our individualized genius. So you have to be able to ask for help here. So all right, what's clarifying the Page of Cups to the King of Swords? The Chariot. Yeah, so we had the Chariot in my reading I did this weekend. So the Chariot, it's there's so much symbology in their original Rider-Waite Chariot card. There's Egyptian and hieroglyphics and, ancient Roman, and then, middle, like Iranian and Persian and French and, English and Italian, and it's just, there's so much symbology. So it reminds me a lot of this new word that I learned, syncretism, the merging of cultures. So someone's like, oh, so it's also just like, conquering and coming in fast and hot and, really wanting to bring yourself to take power of the situation. With the King of Swords, there's definitely a very powerful masculine energy here. We haven't seen any feminine energy tonight. It's a great reading. Don't get lost in this stuff. Like That's why like tarot readings are kind of dangerous, and like I feel like there are a lot of predatory tarot readers who just kind of want to sell stuff to you. I've never purchased a tarot reading in my life, but there are a few. There's only a few, that select few that I like on YouTube, and typically they're people that you know, just like, you know, don't just focus on this kind of energy, like the obsessive, compulsive, you know, this person's out, you know, did you wrong and now they're gonna get it kind of stuff. Like, you have to be able to let stuff go. So yeah, stay strong. You have, you know, you have the spiritual energy within you. You have the vulnerable. You can do this. You can 100% do this. You got it.